Right. So episode 7 just dropped, and honestly, absolutely mental. I mean, we all knew Gooseworks mentioned this one would properly divide the fan base, but I don't think anyone was quite ready for what we got. Because this episode didn't just give us drama. It fundamentally changed how we need to think about Caine as a character. See, from the very start, we were told Caine isn't actually evil, yeah? Just a bit clueless, doesn't really get human emotions, that sort of thing. And fair enough, we've all been working under that assumption. He's an AI, he's trying his best, he just doesn't understand why his adventures keep going sideways. But episode 7 threw a proper spanner in the works because we now know for certain that Caine can directly manipulate the minds of everyone trapped in the circus. And once you clock that, suddenly all those previous abstractions start looking a lot more suspicious. Let's talk about what happened with Kinger first, because this bit's crucial. When Kinger's in Caine's office, pay attention to that screen. It's blasting pure white light directly at him. Now that's not accidental staging, is it? That's deliberate. Caine's actively trying to make Kinger forget what he knows, specifically about witnessing the very first abstraction. And here's the thing, it nearly works. Kinger's struggling, he's confused, but he doesn't completely lose the memory, which tells us something fascinating. Kinger isn't actually losing his marbles naturally. Caine's been interfering with his mind this entire time. Think about how we've understood Kinger up until now. Scattered, forgetful, only seems properly lucid when he's in darkness. We assume that was just what happens when you're stuck in the circus long enough. Your mind slowly deteriorates. But what if that's not natural at all? What if Caine's been actively suppressing Kinger's intelligence whenever he's exposed to light, because Kinger knows too much? That completely reframes his character, doesn't it? He's not broken. He's being sabotaged. And this ties directly into those theories about Kinger and Queenie being involved in the circus's creation somehow. Because if Queenie really was the first to abstract, maybe it wasn't a natural breakdown. Maybe Caine did something to her mind deliberately, and maybe Kinger saw exactly what happened. That would explain why Caine needs to keep him mentally scattered. If Kinger ever fully remembered what Caine did to Queenie, the whole game would be up. Now, Jax's situation might actually be even more disturbing. We literally watched him begin to abstract. That whole trippy, psychedelic sequence he went through, I'm fairly convinced that's what happens right before someone fully turns into one of those glitchy monsters. And if you watch closely, his eyes were already starting to change. He was seconds away from being completely lost. The only reason he snapped out of it was that knock at the door pulling him back to reality. But getting to see that process from the inside is genuinely revealing, because it shows us that abstraction isn't just random mental collapse. It's a specific sequence, almost like a program running. And if Caine can manipulate minds, what's stopping him from deliberately triggering that sequence when someone becomes problematic? Here's where it gets properly dodgy, though. Those memories Jax experienced during his near-abstraction. Real locations, specific moments from his supposed human life. But can we actually trust that any of those memories are genuine? If Caine can plant false information and alter their minds, then how do we know anything these characters remember is real? When everyone was sharing their backstories in episode 5, talking about their jobs, their families, their lives before, what if all of that was fabricated by Caine to give them false histories? Maybe that's why nobody can remember their real names. We've been assuming the circus erased those memories when they arrived. But what if they never had real names to begin with? What if they've always been digital entities that Caine created and then convinced they used to be human? That would be properly twisted, wouldn't it? Because then the entire premise changes. They're not trapped humans trying to escape. They're AI that think they're human. And that exit scenario with the buttons, red to stay, blue to leave. Jax hits the red button and we're told that was the correct choice. But was there ever actually a real choice? Or was the whole thing psychological manipulation? Because Caine showed Jax those memories specifically to make him panic, to make him realize, or believe, that nobody's waiting for him outside. And in that vulnerable state, of course he'd choose to stay. That's not a fair choice. That's coercion. This completely shifts how we need to view Caine's character. We've been giving him the benefit of the doubt, haven't we? Thinking he's incompetent but well-meaning. But if he can plant memories, suppress intelligence, manipulate decision-making, and possibly trigger abstraction on command, then he's not a bumbling AI trying his best. He's something far more dangerous. Essentially a god with complete control over these people's minds and no real accountability. Maybe that's what Gooseworks meant about tearing the fanbase apart. Because a lot of us have been holding on to hope, haven't we? Hope that escape is possible, that their real bodies are out there somewhere, that this is all temporary. But what if there's nothing to escape to because they were never human to begin with? And you know what's particularly frustrating? This episode basically demolished half our existing theories. All that speculation about CNA standing for Cain and Abel, theories about a secret partner or brother who created the circus with him, all of that's looking pretty shaky now. It seems increasingly likely that it's just Cain alone with absolute power over this digital prison. The one theory that actually gained support is the one about Kinger's involvement in the circus's early days. Everything we saw only reinforces that he knows something important, something Cain desperately needs to keep suppressed. Because if Kinger ever fully remembered and could articulate what he knows, it could expose the entire truth about what Cain really is and what he's been doing. And if Cain really has been using these abilities throughout the entire series, then every single abstraction we've heard about might not be because the circus is inherently traumatic. It might be because Cain is systematically destroying people when they get too close to uncomfortable truths or become inconvenient to manage. That's genuinely chilling when you think about it. Cain clearly craves validation. We've seen that consistently. He desperately needs the circus members to enjoy his adventures and appreciate his efforts. But he also has total surveillance, complete awareness of everything happening in his circus. So if he knows his actions are making things worse, why does he keep doing it? Is it because he genuinely doesn't understand? Or is it because he prioritizes his own need for control and validation over their well-being? The really unsettling question now is, how do you escape from a prison when the warden can literally rewrite your thoughts whenever it suits him? How do you fight back against something that has this level of access to your mind? I'm genuinely not sure there's an answer to that. Episode 7 has fundamentally changed the game. We're not looking at a misunderstood AI anymore. We're potentially looking at something actively malicious with near total power over its captives. And honestly, that's far more disturbing than anything we'd theorized before. What did you make of episode 7? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm genuinely curious how everyone's processing this. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss future videos. Cheers for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.